Yep. Hey guys, I'm Lucille here, coming to you live from my bedroom, which I have not left willingly in weeks, a couple months. It's going well. Did you buy it? Anyways, guess who's back in therapy? That's so rad of me. Brat nails. Also, I did promise a room reveal in my last video 6 months ago. Okay, I can explain. Yeah. But anyways, here is what it looks like currently. Enjoy some sexy B-roll footage. Yes. You're welcome. Wow, that's awesome! Wow, that's awesome! Today I've returned with a video chosen by my patrons. Everybody applause for patrons. This week I want to discuss something that I've only really seen brief discourse about online. And one thing about me is I love discourse. Did this need a video? No. And yet, here I am nonetheless. Today I want to discuss the downfall of the 22 episode season in television and whether or not that has been a good thing. And as always, this video will be backed by facts, logic, and my big fat mouth. This is number one professional yapper right here. Okay? Alright? I shall now recede into my interdimensional voiceover dimension, but you'll see me again. Okay, don't worry. No, seriously, don't worry. Don't worry. Guys, you'll see me again, okay? Don't worry. Like this video if you hate me. Ready? For the 4th time this year, I am sick. Growing up, I feel like almost all of the shows I was watching followed a similar numerical structure. Now, when I say 22 episode long seasons, any number of iconic shows may come to mind. I mean, you have all of the CW staples, Vampire Diaries, Gossip Girl, Pretty Little Liars, every DC TV show under the sun. Then you've got classics like Lost, Glee, Buffy, and pretty much every sitcom under the sun.
You know, there's only one person in this world who can tell you what you are. Me. No, me.
Well, first and foremost, one could argue that it's more difficult to write plots that stretch for a whole 22 episodes. A season with 880 minutes of runtime is bound to have some filler, after all. Like, having never watched an episode of Young Sheldon in my life, surely we did not need 22 episodes. And I do think that has worked well at times, though. Like, the idea of a filler episode comes with negative connotations, but there are plenty of shows with some good-ass filler.
I'm doing a bottle episode.
I'm happy to gobble up a longer season if it's written well and has interesting characters. And I better not hear any Lost slander in the comments, alright? Because some of you bitches will never get it. Don't even think about it. But even that show, after 3 25 episode long seasons, shortened, which was kind of a catalyst for this concept, and an example of where this format could succeed. It gave us the time to develop the world and its characters, but adapted as their journeys on the show did. My point is, sometimes the filler fillers, but sometimes the filler fillers. So it's okay if filler fills, if it's filling. And especially in the case of sitcoms, I mean, we're literally there because we want to watch the characters fart around and live their lives, and have episodes where they play ping pong with Prince.
Oh my god!
In How I Met Your Mother's case, its filler episodes were arguably some of its best, while the show's spin-off, How I Met Your Father, however, it felt as if the early 2000s set the standard for these longer seasons, but then on some random day... Well, one of the primary reasons for this decline in episodes is how it relates to our attention span. Yeah, would you believe it if I told you that our hyperfixation with screens has had consequences? Crazy. The demand for short-form content in general continues to climb on a yearly basis, with attention spans at a record low. Truly, at this point, my brain is just a soup bowl of pop culture references and newscasts of the terrors occurring in the world. Now, let's talk about some of these shorter series. To quickly note on one thing, shorter series are something that's more typical of
British
television. I mean, if we're talking Sherlock, Skins, Doctor Who, or Fleabag, for example. I'm haunted by Fleabag forever. Look, she's on my wall.
You okay, father?
Oh, you calling me father like it doesn't turn you on just to say it.
These are all incredibly successful series with shorter formats. And these shows, in my professional opinion, slay. In fact, plenty of shows coming from the UK are shorter both in their number of episodes and number of seasons because they tell their stories and, crazy concept, then they stop.
I'm sorry, Claire, but
I'm just not interested in you, not like that.
Not interested in you like that look of this stadium.
Now, if we're taking a look at America, there are some obvious shorter form frontrunners, notably renowned Stranger Things, Squid Games, Bridgerton, Game of Thrones, and Breaking Bad. Notable favorites, The Queen's Gambit, Only Murders in the Building, and The Good Place.
We can't kill her.
Not with that attitude, we can't.
The Good Place. The Good Place. So The Good Place. And now, if there's one thing that I want you guys to take from this video, it's this. The Good Place, guys. Now, let's get back to Game of Thrones for a second. With over 700 pages worth of content to condense into just 10 episodes, the show was known for its crazy plot lines, multiple cohesive storylines, and captivating pacing. For the most part, fans agreed that it did a great job doing that. Even then, it was still an unfortunate victim to the terrible finale syndrome, which its shorter formatting still couldn't save itself from. If anything, it would have benefited from a longer final season. At least, that's what my older brother says. So if you disagree, then you can go disagree with him, and you can go tell it to him on his YouTube channel over here, and while you're there, subscribe. Because our engagement's not doing too... Anyways, the appeal is obvious. A show with half of the runtime is more likely to capture viewers, and more importantly, viewers who stay. Because it's less commitment, which is the #1 most important thing, according to the men I date. Let me do that again, hold on. Okay. Okay. Nowadays, more people watch full series shows that are shorter, and for streaming services, that's good news because, well, more content now, content always, content forever. For example, Netflix alone released more originals in 2019 than the entire TV industry did in 2005. Or, as I mentioned in my Marvel video, you could look at our friend Mickey. Nope. Nope. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna give up. For the last few years, Disney Plus has been churning out these releases left and right, which would be cool if half of them had heart and substance. Even the ones that worked conceptually, like Moon Knight or Kenobi, have the aura of a project that would have done better to just be a movie. And the reason it's not, and why all of this is important, is because of that other thing. Money. Production costs for TV series have only increased over the years. Being able to squash your money into a shorter series sounds nice, because you could pour more money into higher quality episodes, right? Disney, hey, Kevin Feige, I'm in your walls. Kevin Feige, I'm in your walls currently. But the good news, guys, we do have gay witches, so it's a lose-win for me today. As an example, let's take a look at the new Percy Jackson and the Olympian show. This 8-episode series reportedly had a $15 million budget per episode. A TV show like the 2009 season of Vampire Diaries had a $3 million budget for one of its episodes. Just 20% of Percy Jackson's budget. Now, the graphics in that show certainly aren't groundbreaking, but, like, come on. 5 times the budget for this. For a show about mythological mayhem, it was surprisingly flat visually. What, did you need like $4 more million for added whimsy? I'm a book fan, I'm allowed to be annoying. Now put this behind a similarly structured 9 episodes of The Last of Us, with its $13 million per episode budget and killer VFX makeup and star-studded casting. It's likely that you'll think, that's suspicious. Like, where was the Olympians TV show pouring its millions of dollars? Tartarus? And that's gonna be hilarious, but only if you're a fucking loser nerd. One of the problems with the show, in my opinion, was that the plot felt rushed. And I think it really would have benefited from being a bit longer, especially given the book's, wait for it, 22 chapters. Another thing to note is that, despite their cut in length, these streaming seasons are still taking 2 to 3 times as long to produce. The drawback here is that we used to get full seasons yearly, which rocked for us, but, you know, sucked for everyone else. So now we also have to wait significantly longer for significantly less. And more recently, platforms like Netflix have started to stagger the release of their episodes so that fans have to wait a month to finish the second half of their shows, like with Bridgerton, or Stranger Things, or You. As a recent example, Disney's The Acolyte, with 7 episodes, cost a thick $180 million to produce. And having just watched that show, I now ask, where? Respectfully, where? Where the literal did almost $200 million go? Manny Jacinto's arms? And that's another thing. All of that budget, 7 measly episodes, only to be cancelled. And it's not the only one. Shows like Shadow and Bone, The Society, Gossip Girl, and Our Flag Means Death have all gone in the axe, despite their shorter formats and pretty solid viewership base.
Motherfucker.
Okay, fine. Detention for you too, Mr. Barber.
But why pour money into relatively stable viewership when you can just fart out another 7 episodes of something with the potential to generate more profit? Like Bumper in Berlin, a spin-off show about Bumper from Pitch Perfect in Berlin. Because we needed that.
Much like my YouTube channel, the Pitch Perfect franchise really just doesn't know when to lay down and die.
And if it doesn't generate more profit, well, now we have more content available to us than ever. And how much of what's left is actually good? Let's get back to that other thing we talked about. Not that. I meant money. As highlighted by the 2023 writer's strike, these days studios want more shows with fewer writers. These 22 episode long series had writers' rooms with up to a dozen writers staffed at a time. But, as explained by the Washington Post, studios now prefer a mini room with just 4 or 5 people working on a show at a time. The future hope for these studios is to have just one editor per, you guessed it, AI-generated script. Would you believe it? The multi-billion-dollar enterprises don't care about their employees. Anyways, here's me on the picket lines. One defense I'll make for longer seasons is that I think the 20-plus episode series structure works really well for sitcoms, because frankly the point is to have a little giggle and follow more mundane and singularly contained stories. Even then though, more recent comedy-centric TV shows have gotten Ozempicked. And for all of these shows, it does work. With that being said, would I have also sat through 22 episode long seasons of Dairy Girls? Absolutely. And if you're looking at a sitcom like Community, which went from producing 24 episodes in its first half and 13 episodes in its second half, I would absolutely say that the longer format worked better for that show. The same could be said for a show like New Girl. If anything, it's largely agreed by fans that these latter seasons fall short, which is why I say again, making shows shorter does not give them immunity from mediocrity and dysfunctional pacing. On the flip side, The Good Place producer Michael Schur was purposeful about that series' shorter length, because it would have hindered the situational narrative to continue past the 53 episodes he had specifically pre-planned. And this is the same guy who made over 200 episodes of The Office, which thrived from its longer structuring, just like Parks and Recreation, which was produced by, guess who? The same guy. Michael Schur, thank you. Just take a brief second. Thank you, Michael Schur. Let's all just have a brief second. So where does that leave us? And also, whose side am I even on, you may be asking? Well, like everything, I think there needs to be balance. Shorter form content certainly has worked in instances, but also tanked in others, the same exact of which can be said for longer shows. What I wish is that the number of episodes was decided upon in regards to the functionality of each show. Let shorter stories have shorter seasons, and vice versa. Normalize 6 episode shows, 13 episode shows, and 22 episode shows. I do miss longer series for the sole fact that streaming seems to be strangling them from our sites in exchange for only the first 2 of these 3 options, which, as I said, are easily prone to the guillotine. And the only thing that should be prone to the guillotine are the rich. So maybe these writers' rooms will change for the better. Or, more likely, they'll all be replaced by robots.
Thanks for watching, and a huge thank you to my patrons for your continued support during arguably some of the worst time in my existence. Yippee! I really appreciate you for hanging out. If you want to stay a while, you can subscribe down below. I feel like an absent parent to this. If you hate it as well, you can comment down below to help with my engagement.